When we talk about the cost of family court, we usually think in dollars and cents. But today, we're going to measure it in a way you've probably never thought of before, in units of pure human effort and, well, physical sacrifice.
So let's just jump right into the heart of it with one single question, a really powerful one. How many times does a parent, stuck in one of those awful, high-conflict custody battles, have to literally go and donate their own blood plasma just to pay for their lawyer?
Okay, get ready for this because the answer is, it's just staggering. We're talking between 40 and 120 times. And let me be super clear here, that is not for the entire case. Nope, that's just to cover one single phase of the conflict. You're probably thinking, how is that even possible? Well, that's what we're going to break down. Let's do the math.
All right, to really wrap our heads around that number, you got to look at the two sides of this equation. And it's a pretty painful one. On one side, you have the money coming in from donating plasma. And on the other, the absolutely crushing cost of just having a lawyer in family court.
And wow, this is where you really see how out of whack things are. On the one hand, a parent who is maxing out their donations might pull in a few $100 a month. But on the other hand, a lawyer's retainer, that starts at $5,000. And the whole court battle, that can easily rocket into the tens, even hundreds of thousands of dollars. They're not even in the same ballpark. They're in completely different universes.
Okay, so now let's get into the really devastating part, the math. This is where we're going to turn those big abstract dollar signs into something you can really feel. We're talking time, we're talking effort, we're talking about the physical reality of sitting in that chair week in and week out.
For our calculations, let's use a pretty conservative, realistic number. Let's say a parent is donating as often as they're legally allowed, twice a week. And let's say they're getting about $70 a pop. That adds up to $560 a month. Okay? So remember that number, 560. That's the key to all of this.
So using that $560 a month, just look at what this means. To pay for a pretty standard $10,000 retainer, a parent has to go donate plasma twice a week, every single week for a year and a half. A year and a half. What about a more typical $50,000 case? Now you're talking over 7 years of donations. And if you're in one of those really extreme high-conflict cases that hits $150,000, that's over 22 years. 22 years. It's basically a life sentence of donating plasma just for the right to fight for your own kid.
And it's not even just about those huge one-time bills. Think about all the smaller stuff that pops up. A single emergency motion, and these can happen over and over again, can cost anywhere from $3,000 to $10,000. That means one single piece of paper filed with the court can cost you 5 to 6 weeks of consistent donations. The financial drain is just relentless.
But this is way more than just a math problem, right? Behind every single one of these numbers is a real person, a real parent. So who are these people? Who is actually being forced to pay this unbelievable price just to get their day in court? Well, the people who are pushed into this corner, they're already living on the edge. We're talking about people who are incredibly financially stressed, basically stuck in what you can only call survival mode. A lot of times, these are folks who don't have a big family support system to fall back on. They're just parents trying to do everything the court is asking of them, but they end up being punished over and over again by a system that's just bogged down with delays and these endless, expensive legal maneuvers.
And really, it all boils down to this one powerful line from the source material. It says, family court costs push people into medical donation centers just to stay in the fight for their own child. Think about that. This isn't about trying to get ahead in life. This is about just trying not to lose your own family.
So this all leads us to a really big, fundamental question about justice itself. What does this whole calculation, this plasma for justice exchange rate, what does it actually say about our entire family court system? There's a really clear statement that puts this whole thing into perspective. No family court system should push parents into medical plasma centers just to finance parenting time. And that right there, that frames this whole thing not as just some unfortunate consequence, but as a deep systemic failure. So, in the end, we're left with this one really critical question. We've just seen how the price of justice can literally be measured in years, even decades of physical sacrifice. So, when the price tag is that high, who can actually afford to pay it? And maybe more importantly, what does that say about a system that's supposed to be there to protect families?